right, so my name's Steve Antos. I'm a physical therapist, and I'm also a graduate student at Northwestern right now. So I'm not going to use any slides for this. I'm going to do a demo, so I'm going to take a quick moment and pray to the demo gods and hope this works. So this site is live right now, so if you guys want to open up your phones, you can actually go to the website that I created for my project. It's steveantos.com. It's just my first name, last name.com. And so I'm going to show you what I went ahead and built. And when I entered this program, one of the big things that I wanted to do and accomplish is learn how to share some of the machine learning models that I build for work. But I don't have any kind of web dev experience at all. I didn't really know how to use a server or anything like that. So that was the big thing that I wanted to learn for this project. So the model that I'm going to be showing you today is called the Siamese Rehab Net. And this is a TensorFlow model that I built. And essentially what it does is it takes patient outcome measures, or things that I measure as a physical therapist. So when someone comes to the hospital and I see them, I'll do a bunch of different measurements to see how well they're moving. I'll also make those measurements when they leave the hospital, and I'll compare them to see how much they progressed. But there's hundreds of different measurements that you can make, and essentially what we wanted to do is we wanted to take all of those and somehow convert them into one single score. So that's what this network is doing. I'm not going to go into too much more detail about the network because I just don't have time. But what I do want to show you is a few different ways that you can actually use this. So if you go to the website, I have my model running up in Amazon Web Services. So you can either go through and you can use the form that I have here, or you can interact directly with the API. You can check out the docs if you want. And I'm just going to show you kind of how it works. So here's a list of all the different measurements you can make. I'm just going to go down and I'm going to put in a couple scores for walking. And for this, a 1 essentially means that the person is wheelchair bound. They can't walk at all. And if they are walking, I'm physically holding up most of their body weight, picking up their legs and moving them forward for the person. A 5 means that they're able to walk without any help from me, but I have my hands on them just to make sure that they don't fall. So I can go ahead and submit this. It's going to send the data to the server. It's going to send a response back, and then I can display it on the website. And this is pretty simple, right? It doesn't look that crazy, but there was a lot that I had to learn to do this in the background. And to show you a little bit about what's going on in the Amazon web server, I have a virtual private server, and on that server I have a Docker container. And that Docker container is running the TensorFlow serving environment so that I can host my model there. Now, I could have just left the Docker container up and had people try and interact with that, but it's really, really messy. And it's not, the format that it wants the data isn't very conducive for anyone using it. So what I then did is I learned how to build an API in Flask so that you can actually send some data in a nice, clean format to the model and get the results back a little bit easier. So other researchers could actually use this now. But one of my primary audiences isn't just researchers, it's other clinicians. And other clinicians might not know how to use an API. They might not even know what it is. I'll be honest, when I started this program, I didn't really understand what an API was. So what I did is I then built a website in Flask, which you're looking at here, which you can then interact with the model in a simple form so that clinicians can enter the outcomes that they put in and get the results back so they can actually see how the model's behaving. So that's pretty much what I did for my project. I'm super proud of it. I learned a ton during it. Here's just a list of the few of the things that I had to learn to actually put this all together. It was a lot of moving pieces that ended up coming together in the end. But two of the big takeaway messages that I wanted to kind of share was to stay focused on your goal. So the first thing that I realized I needed to do was come up with a concrete goal, which was just to deploy this model and make it available. And that kept us on track throughout the entire 3 months, and I think that's why we were pretty successful in getting this to work. And then the second is not to reinvent the wheel. There were a lot of obstacles that I ran into along the way, and I found a lot of great open packages and libraries that were able to help out, and because people had already done the heavy lifting for me. I just want to give a special thanks to Will for coordinating this program, Will, my mentor, for helping me out with this, Ray for coordinating the program, and then just everyone in ChiPy, because I've learned a ton from everyone here at all the meetings and everything. So you guys can check out the website. Feel free to take a look at it. If you have any feedback, suggestions, or comments, constructive criticism, please let me know. I know that most of the people in the audience probably know more than I know about this, so any suggestions you have I would greatly appreciate. And I'll kind of stop there and close out if anyone has questions.